Welcome to Sister Sessions, a podcast where two sisters on very different journeys explore what it means to live spiritually in today's world. My sister, Jenny Fairbank, is the co-founder and spiritual director of Wisdom Pathways, a yoga and meditation teacher, and a somatic healer devoted to guiding others toward inner peace. And I'm Susie Gustin, a mom of three, producer and owner of Red City Live Entertainment, embracing life's joys while searching for deeper meaning. Together, we have honest, relatable conversations about finding balance, purpose, and connection in everyday life. So settle in. You are exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Sister Sessions. Hi, welcome to this two-part episode of the Sister Sessions podcast with guest Frank Vitale. Frankie joins us from his home virtually in part one as we discuss his road to addiction, where it was and what he felt like and how that impacted his life in a negative way. In part two, he's been invited into the Sister Sessions studio to sit in person with Susie as they discuss with Jenny virtually of where he is now, how he became the successful restaurant owner, how he became a big voice in the community and helping others with addiction. So if you feel inspired to listen to this very heartfelt conversation and important message, if you know someone in your life who is an addict, or if you know someone that's dealing with someone in their life that is an addict, or if you're struggling yourself, I highly encourage you to watch this very important message. It is so inspiring and it will hopefully change your life how it changed his as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the season 2 finale of the Sister Sessions podcast, where we get divine and real. I am Susie Gustin, and I am here with my co-host and sister, Jenny Fairbank.
Hello there.
Hello. So we have a very special guest in our studio today, and this guest is not just a guest to us, but he is a lifelong friend. So let me introduce you. Today, we have Frank Vitale, a chef, restaurateur, and dedicated yogi who has transformed his life through recovery. Frank's culinary journey began in Pittsburgh at his grandmother's side on Sundays. By the age of 15, he was washing dishes in a restaurant and working his way up through the ranks. Fast forward to today, and he is the proud owner of Cucina Vitale, which just celebrated 10 years of serving our community. But Frank's story doesn't stop in the kitchen. Beyond creating delicious food, he has discovered deep purpose through yoga and meditation, tools that have supported him in recovery and in running his restaurant with clarity and strength. As a recovering addict, Frank is an open, vulnerable voice in the recovering community. He shares his journey honestly and courageously, inspiring others by showing that it's possible to face immense challenges and still create a beautiful and fulfilling life. Frank's path is such a powerful fusion of culinary excellence, spiritual wellness, and resilience, and we cannot wait to dive into his story. Please welcome to the Sister Sessions studio, our lifelong friend, Frank Vitale.
Hello, everyone. How are you? So happy to be here, ladies. So proud of you guys as well.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Frankie. So for everyone listening, Frankie and Jenny and I grew up going to high school together. Frankie graduated in my class, and he and I became best friends and lasted, all through high school. We went off to college. We stayed connected for a while, and then I moved away. And despite me moving to Los Angeles, Frankie stayed connected to my family, just like another sibling. I left, and he kind of took my place. So he's also a family friend of ours, and we're just thrilled to have him here to tell his story and talk about his journey.
Well, so happy to be here.
Hearing the intro, Frankie, it just makes me want to cry. Your journey has been such an inspiration, and I know the audience will love to hear your whole journey because it's so very inspiring.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
So let's start back all the way in the kitchen on Sundays with your nonna.
Yeah.
Tell us what that was like for you.
So it was your typical, I guess, Italian, upbringing on Sundays, family, it was important to not only Italian families, just families in general, no matter what background you have. And Sundays seemed to be the day that everybody got together. But I noticed my anticipation for Sundays always just to be by my grandmother's side. She was a second mom to me. And as you know, I grew up right next door, or they were down the street at the time, but it was perfect. So, and then my grandfather would always be in the garden picking vegetables, and so it was just I don't know what my draw was to the kitchen. I don't know whether it was her love or just time alone with her, and I've always had I guess I always look forward to seeing the family and like sort of entertaining them in a way. I'd be the first one there and greeting everybody. So yeah, I don't know, just the draw of maybe her love.
And you were meant to be in the kitchen, clearly.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
absolutely,
their past lives definitely chose this for each other to meet
for
here.
sure, for sure.
Yeah. So when did you realize that food was going to become a lifelong passion for you?
I couldn't say, I guess when I don't know if you would call it realize. I just knew, from the beginning. I just didn't know how or when. But I had that, I knew that that's what I was going to do. Just had, the intuition that that's what and always being drawn back in to the restaurant business and just cooking in general. I also find as chaotic as a kitchen can get, I find that I'm at my most peace when it's that chaotic, if that makes any sense. So, yeah, I don't know, the rush of the kitchen, the intensity, the insanity, uh, the craziness, the controlled chaos, that's what I was drawn to as well. But it's also, that's when I'm my most calm. So, which is kind of wild because now at the new restaurant, I'm more taking an ownership role and I'm stepping back from that, which has been difficult. I mean, it's a different kind of chaos. I'm touching more tables and interacting with customers a lot more, but I'm not actually on the line, the day-to-day grind that I was in for the past 10 years, which has been a
Yeah.
challenge for me because I was always super, super hands-on. Not that I'm not hands-on, I'm still back in the kitchen and making sure everything goes out all right, expediting a lot, and but I'm not physically cooking all the time now. I'll do the specials and get everything ready, more of a, quote unquote, executive chef role now.
So to fill those in who may not know, Frankie owns a restaurant in
Oh
Pittsburgh
yeah.
called Cucina Vitale. It is absolutely unbelievable.
Thank you.
And they are celebrating 10 years and they do a lot. Frankie is very committed to helping people in the community. And let's go back, Frankie, to where it all started and how did you think you got that moment in time for you that was their darkest
Right.
and how you got through that?
So I guess no one really knows, and an addict. I don't know how they. I mean, I always had the addictive tendencies. Kind of an all or nothing attitude with everything. But it goes back. I discovered like I never accepted myself on a deeper level or any level at that. I always wanted to be somebody else. I wanted your family. I wanted your bike. I wanted your um, whatever clothes for whatever reason. You know what I mean? I just wouldn't accept myself. And I think when the drugs came along, and as you guys, ladies know, I was always a hustler, whether it be, I'd always be selling something in high school, whatever it'd be. And then like drugs came into play and that filled that void of hustling. I was drawn to that lifestyle. And then I slowly just experimented and, not wanting to accept myself, the drugs masked who, the drugs masked and made me feel like myself, but it was a complete lie and definite, it was a lie, it's a demonic force that, takes you over. And so yeah, I think it was more or less the timing of everything to where I always had that, hustler mentality, that always driven, always super intense, involved in, when the drugs came along, it was just a matter of time. So I don't can't particularly pinpoint how, when, why, but definitely, me not being who, not not me wanting to be myself, was the root.
Yeah. And at what point, they always say that people hit rock bottom. What was your
Right.
rock bottom, and what was your moment of like, I've got to do something here?
This always gets me. And these tears are, excuse me, this is more of tears of gratitude, and just lucky to be alive because I have so many friends gone. But it was, I could give you vivid, I mean, it's vividly in my mind. It was April 9th of 2014. It was around 8:30, 9 o'clock. It was this down Cafe Davio, which I was the chef at, and yeah, I decided that I didn't want to live anymore, and I'm in the basement. No one was there. I think everybody left. It was an early night or whatever, but I decided that I was going to kill myself. Got as much heroin as I could grab at the time. It was 20 some bags, and I decided I'm putting it all in, and I don't want to live no more. I can't live like this. This isn't any existence, and I've gotten clean a few times before, and struggling. I just couldn't stop. I knew what to do, but I just couldn't. And that's what the strange thing about addiction is. Even though I did get clean before and knew I could do it, it's such a powerful demonic force that it made me feel like I couldn't. So my only way out was, I thought, death. It would be better to die. It would be better to die than keep on living the way I was living. So put all the 20 some bags of whatever, the heroin in, and shot it, blacked out. I don't know how long I was out, but came through, and I was pissed. I was angry. I was like, God, I told you I didn't want to live. Why are you doing this to me? The next thing you know, this unexplainable warmth and light came over me, and I could feel it now. And it was this, I don't know if you want to call it angel, where I would say it was an angel, and it's an angelic presence. And it was this so loving and welcoming and warmth of light that it spoke, and it was more it's hard to explain because it was more telepathic than us speaking. But I remember being on the ground, just angry, and this angelic force came and was like, it told me it was over. There's a long road ahead. This isn't your time. um you're here to help a lot of people. Follow the signs. And then from that moment forward, my desire to use heroin was immediately gone. um which people, if should know, I
Mm.
mean, it's a miracle in itself. So, and then I was completely blown away and awestruck. I'm like, is this the drugs? Is this? But no, it was such a unique, like, powerful feeling. um I was finally at ease for a little bit. I knew what I was in store for with the detox and everything. So within 15 minutes, the signs started to appear, and they have. I'm 11 years clean now. They've been showing up ever since, almost on a daily basis. So, as my angel said, follow the signs. So the first sign appeared 15 minutes later. Out of the blue, a friend of mine texted me to see how I was. I was in a three-quarter house with him 2 years before, and we lived together for about a year. He's like, please let me know you're okay. And I reached out to him. I said, no, I'm not okay. And he's like, well, I'm getting you into rehab tomorrow. He was working at a rehab facility, and got me in the next day. So that's the first sign. And like I said, synchronicities have been um, showing up almost on a daily basis. Well, I came to find out through, you know, meditating, yoga, whatever, and just overall life experience. If I stay in the present moment and block out the past and the future, those signs show up a lot more vividly and frequently. If I tune into the present moment, which is a challenge for everybody, but that's truly all that is. um, which is also amazing. But it's so hard to do. It's, your mind's 1,000 places a minute, and society doesn't want you in the present moment with all the technology and whatever else, the newest whatever shiny object, let's call it. So I get
Mm-hmm.
into, I'm off to treatment, the next day from that experience. And oh, I remember it was brutal. The detox was quite rough on me. I was, it was just tough. I remember thinking that I wasn't coming back. Like mentally, I could formulate sentences, but I couldn't speak. So like my brain was on this delay. Also, this last time I abused alcohol every day, Xanax, along with the heroin. So it was and I was on methadone. Like my good addictive thinking was like, okay, I'm gonna get on methadone too in case I'm sick, which is nuts. But that's my thought. I was like, at least I'll be off sick or whatever. But I was doing so much of the other narcotics and drugs and alcohol. I was sick on 30 milligrams of methadone, a drug that's supposed to keep you from withdrawing. I was withdrawing on. So that's the magnification of how much I was using. Not to brag or anything like that, but that's just a reference point, because it's just I can't believe I didn't drop dead. I was so toxic. So yeah, back I'm in treatment, scared. Again, in the meantime, my parents threw me out. Of course, why would I wouldn't, want them to keep me around. I didn't be one around my own self, and I that was a turning point too as well, because my parents. I'm an only child, and I know it was hard for them to do that. But it was, one of the best things they could have done for me, so yeah, so I'm in treatment and end up getting a job up there as a food and beverage director. The whole the rehab I went to wasn't a normal rehab. That's another time and a place to talk about. It was a crazy environment. They ended up getting shut down. However, they gave me the food and beverage director job. I had like a week. I was barely clean, but I was very grateful for the position. Again, I was living in one of my counselors' offices on their floor. I had nowhere to go. Like I said, this is out of treatment, so I was just hanging up at the rehab facility. That was my room. I just had a pillow and a blanket and a couple sets of clothes. But I'll tell you what, I was so grateful for that floor, and because I was alive. Um, and little by little, I started felt myself coming back to life. I started to, one, be grateful that I didn't die, because I should have been. And in going back to, I overcame two other or three overdoses. Um, so on top of the suicide attempt. So I'm very, very lucky and fortunate and blessed to be here beyond imagine. Just to be clean is quite amazing to me, let alone the success I've accumulated. And it goes back, I always, going back as a kid, I always thought my ultimate goal and was to own a restaurant. And but I come to find out that the ultimate, my purpose here is just like the angel said, I'm here to help people. And I truly believe that I'm here to show people in the same situation that you could be and do anything, whatever your restaurant is, whether you want to open a nursery to grow plants or whatever you want to do, you could do it. Like if I came through the adversity that I did, you could do anything. So I know that's why I'm here for sure and put on this earth. And the restaurant is just a vehicle that has and will accelerate it. I have many employees that are recovering addicts. I give people chances, too many chances sometimes, because you never know. You never know when they're going to change. And that's another crazy thing about addiction. Like that one time you get to change your life around, that one decision, uh, you know, And I had that powerful experience, and I've had people tell me like, "Oh, well, you had that powerful experience. That's why you're here." Blah blah blah. That's just really an excuse. Maybe you don't need to have that. That's how I had to be shaken and woken up by God. Because there was no other way. That was, what I had to experience. I just want anybody to know I did enough of everything that I do know that God didn't put us on this earth to do drugs in any shape, which way, form. And that anything is possible. Like I did the research for you. Don't worry about it. It's not going to get better. In even today's world, the drugs out there are insane. People like are losing like that's eating away their skin. Like, it's insane. So basically, if I could do it, anybody can do it. Um, so yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start with the yoga and the meditation? What did you
So
just on
and
your
here's
own get
another.
drawn to that, or did someone?
So my whole life and I don't know why I just thought of this. I think we're all of us are connected, but especially me and Jenny, because later on I found Yogananda, and we're two separate. We haven't spoken in years, and we found Yogananda around the same time. So that's, I always had this draw to yoga, yo, for whatever reason. I know I was a yogi in a past life or whatever. But literally down the street from the rehab, there was a yoga studio, and it was hot yoga, and they were doing it was not the traditional hot yoga that I do now, but it was Ashtanga in a hot environment, and I instantly fell in love with it. Um, so that's where my yoga true journey began, right down the street from probably I had a month or 2 months clean uh at the facility I was at. So that's where the yoga started to come in.
Vicky, I have this very vivid memory of um, me coming over to your place when I lived in Pittsburgh, and we did a yoga therapy session. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was up here when you lived right up the street, right? Yeah, I think
Yes.
you were getting your hours as a teacher, I believe, or something you were working on. Yeah, we did a meditation session. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. That was when I was going
Mm,
through Phoenix Rising yoga therapy training. And
mm,
that was like, I feel like that was our first, I mean, that was our first connection with the whole yoga meditation experience. And then finding out that we were both connected with Yogananda was like,
right.
it was mind blowing.
Right. It's yeah, and
I
that's another sign, you know what I mean? What are the what are the chances you're in Texas, I'm in Pittsburgh, and we just so happen to find Yogananda, So yeah. Who
know it.
came in at a
It's so
time
beautiful.
I was probably I don't know how many years clean in the 12 step, which 12 step program saved my life, particularly in Jen's very involved in the 12 step fellowship. I have sort of backed away from that form ever since I
That
found
is that
yoga
is for
and
everyone listening. Jen is Frankie's wife. This
oh,
is
that's
another
my wife.
Jen.
Yeah. So yes,
Yeah.
and who's also in recovery and doing great. She has a little over 3 years clean and doing fabulous. So she's more 12 step based recovery. I'm more, I guess, yoga recovery, and I'm going to give Yoga Recovery Pittsburgh a plug. Jen and I are on the board of directors through my yoga studio. One of the co-owners started Yoga Recovery Pittsburgh, so it's a great. We do. She does therapy one-on-one, and when we do group therapy as well, bi-monthly. And there's a lot of retreats, and so those in the Pittsburgh area, come check us out. Also, I'd like the audience to know I had blackout anger, um, and very, very, very anger issues to say the least, um, which has been as hard, or if not harder, to manage than the actual drug use for me. Um, So that's another a miracle in my life that that I have my anger under control today. Because I'm sure you girls remember me. Just I had a fiery attitude and just super fly off the
Well,
handle,
I think
extremely
yeah, I
easy.
think
From high school
yeah, and
days
you make
or
a good point because yeah, with the drugs, I mean, neither is easy. But with the drugs, that's a physical something that if you're not physically with, you're not doing it. But with the anger issues, that's difficult because things come up all the time that can make you
Yeah.
angry, right? If
Oh,
you let
absolutely.
them.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. So
yeah.
that's been another, but I'm very proud of myself with that. Because, there'd be times, and thank God I've never, I'd black out, I'd punch walls, I'd come through, see people crying, seen Jen crying one time, thinking, did I strike her? And thank God I've never done. But that really was wake up calls too. You see other people scared to death and crying, and then it upsets me. Like, I'm not that person. Uh, you know,
No.
which
Yeah.
I'm very, like I said, very grateful for being able to, work on it. And sometimes it's a daily struggle. I'd like, especially now, I have 40 some employees, so I get it at many different angles, a lot of different personalities, and different, a lot more situations coming up with a bigger place as well. So yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sister Sessions podcast. If you found inspiration in today's conversation, we'd love it if you shared the episode with your besties, family, or even your favorite neighbors. We'll be back next week with more to share, but until then, remember, meditation is the key to unlocking your inner peace. All is well, friends. See you soon.